Hi, I'm John Hart. Welcome back to Official John Hart. As a natural bodybuilder whose primary concern is growing muscle, should I be lifting heavy? That question gets tossed out at me quite often. And here's the thing, I understand with recent video, especially of me training, showing some rather intense things going on in the gym where I'm not necessarily lifting the biggest weights, but kind of going all out, beyond failure with the weights I'm using and getting a lot of reps in the end. That's the whole thing. So I could see where it brings up these types of questions. So I'm going to answer it and get right to it. That is, the answer is yes, you do. You do have to lift heavy weights, relative to you as an individual, as a bodybuilder. You know how strong you are, you know how much weight you can lift in certain movements, and the answer is both. You must lift heavy weights at times, for lower reps at times, and then there's times where you do need to do more reps with more moderate weights. And how do you judge those two? Well, my answer has been, and I've written about this in, a couple of my books, Miss America's Shape Up series and Physique 101. I've written how I cycle some of my training throughout the year. I break the year down into segments, and I don't necessarily always go all out, full-blown, super high intensity, beyond failure, forced reps, negatives, all of that after I've reached the point that I cannot lift a weight any longer. And there is a small segment of my year currently that I take for just powerlifting focus. So the numbers, I'm only after numbers at that point, chasing numbers, lifting bigger weights. And that usually happens right in the middle of winter for me. This is my personal preference. But the absolute answer for me has been, as the years have gone by, I have found that I do need and want to dedicate about a sixth of my year. That comes out to about 2 months, right? I do about an 8-week powerlifting, just linear periodization, simple, straightforward, increasing the weight over the course of 8 weeks with a plan. I have a plan. And do I crank up or haul up as big a weights as most other natural bodybuilders? And here's a funny part about that. I found that at one show in particular, as a natural pro bodybuilder in the WNBF, I was standing on stage and next to a whole bunch of guys who I thought looked really great. And the top 5 were on stage. And when the final pictures came back, I kind of thought these guys were pretty big, and they were. They really were, especially in some of the upper body muscles. Very big. And when the pictures came out, though, I noticed, man, I was looking pretty big standing next to them, and especially in the quads, in the hamstrings and the quads. This was the part that got me, was that we were all following each other on social media, and I noticed how 3 of the guys out of the top 5 were squatting over 500 pounds. And I'll tell you straight out, relatively speaking, right? Straight out, that myself, there's never been 500 pounds up here on this upper back. Okay, I've never thrown 500 pounds up there for any reason whatsoever and squatted. So, but when you compare the legs, and I'll put up a picture for you all, when you compare the legs on all of us, at most I was regularly squatting 365 for reps, heavy weight for reps, relatively heavy weight for reps, to the point where I was 1 rep shy of failure. And on those squats, relatively speaking, again, I spent my entire year as a natural pro. At that point in time, I did not use specific powerlifting portions of the year. I didn't have the time. I was competing every 6 months. So I found that the moment I was done competing in a show, I would very quickly, reverse my diet and just gain a few pounds but I was so time compressed. I had about 3 months to make the changes I needed to make in my physique, and then I had about 3 months to rip it up and get in shape to get back on stage. That was it. So by nature, there was no 8 or 12 week period that I could use right there for focusing only on numbers. So I was focused on using high intensity training techniques. And if anything, I did even less volume wise and more intensity wise. So yes, I was using moderate weights, moderate and occasionally touching the heavier weights, but moderate rates for a lot of reps, and those reps were not all concentric reps. It was, a regular set of 6 reps, 2 failure, plus 2 forced reps, plus 2 negative. So it's, 10 reps total, but 4 of them were super high intensity technique, right? So this is what was going on when I was a natural pro. Afterwards, in the ensuing, now it's been, it's been 8 years. I have found that I do take part of my year to do a very meticulous power segment of my training where I do, throw numbers on there and do get the weights up heavier than I've done as a natural pro bodybuilder. I find it beneficial. It gives me a mental break from the high intensity things, and then it also gives me something to look forward to. And then it slows everything down. And then it also, I believe, keeps the integrity of my joints, very good. So I'm very flexible, very mobile, and at 61 now, I've been able to maintain and continue to improve even on some body parts. I really enjoy this, and the powerlifting is part of it. So there's your answer. The answer is yes. As a natural bodybuilder, yes. Who's focused on lifting big weights? Yes. You should lift big weights. You should lift heavy weights relative for you. Notice I didn't say, and I'll close out with this, no, you shouldn't be lifting singles. I think bench pressing and seeing how much you can lift for a single is absolutely stupid as a bodybuilder at all times, okay? Even when I do a powerlifting phase, I never go down to singles on anything. At the lowest, it's a triple, okay? So doing sets of 3 in powerlifting training is considered powerlifting training. That's it. But getting down to singles is just pure ego. Going down to singles to see how much you can bench is foolish and dangerous. That's my opinion. So, but you got to live with your decisions. So that's it for today. From my heart to you, John Hart. All right. Before you go, listen, you've been watching my videos. Please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. Off to my left right now, you're going to see this disc pop up. Here's your opportunity. Hit that disc right there. Give that thing a tap. Let YouTube know that you're subscribing to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And boom, my videos will pop up in your feed when I have new ones come out. Down to the bottom and to your left, you're going to see a thumbs up button. Please give that thing a tap. Change its color and let the YouTube algorithm know how much you're liking my videos. It lights it up. It lights me up too. I look forward to seeing you next time.